Hey, it's your real estate geek, Andrew Finney here. So we're back again with our home buying guide, 22 Steps for Your Success, episode number 5, How to Find a Great Real Estate Agent. And perhaps one of the things to consider is, I'm sure you've heard about it, and if you have, tell me in the comment section below about great real estate agents to work with and not so great real estate agents to work with. From wonderful things that went along smoothly and swimmingly to things that were just complete nightmares and disasters. Tell us what your experiences are in the comment section below, and if you haven't already done so, you'll want to subscribe to the channel to keep up on all this wonderful information that we're sharing to help you and empower you and gain knowledge as we move forward. So whenever it comes to finding how to find a great real estate agent, what comes to mind is Steve and Melanie. Now, Steve and Melanie are a family of 3 that contacted me in the fall of 2016 about helping them find a home. And the way that they had found me was online, and they had read some of the client reviews that families have left for me on Zillow, and also seen that the amount of families that I've helped over the past 12 months, and they felt comfortable with reaching out to me. And after they reached out to me, we set up a time to meet. Now, what was really interesting with Steve and Melanie's circumstances, whenever we met at my office, they actually started telling me about this horrific experience they had just had. And Steve was telling me that they were actually in escrow previously and had just fallen out of escrow about a month before we had met. And I said, well, are you working with an agent? Because I asked you that when we first talked. And he said, no. He said, well, we wanted to have this conversation with you in person, Andrew, and we'll try to calm down a little bit because obviously Melanie and I are really hurt and really frustrated and just downright angry over what happened in the previous escrow. I said, okay, well, let's talk about that so we understand and I can understand how to better assist you and ensure that everything works out right. So tell me about what happened. And Steve started telling me the story essentially about how they went to escrow, how they found the other agent, and it was one of Melanie's cousins or friends or something along that lines, where it was a friend of a friend that had a relative. Ever heard that story in Song and Dance, by the way? That recommended this agent to them, and that's how they ended up meeting up. I said, well, did you ever research the agent or ever research any of that? And they said, no, but we wish we would have, and that's what we did with you. Whenever we before we had contacted you, we read your reviews and we felt really comfortable having read what families were actually saying, not just little one-liners, but actually sharing their experience. I said, okay, well, I appreciate that, but let's talk about you because I want to know what happened here. So then Melanie started saying, well, you know, we worked with her and everything seemed like it was okay, but we were a little bit uneasy because the communication wasn't really that good. And she'd recommended us to a loan officer that made us a little bit uncomfortable. And the loan officer said that we were approved and we were looking for a down payment assistance program. And she said, Andrew, you know, we are a family of 3, young family. We haven't ever bought a house before. You know, we're reaching out to people that our friends and family had told us to reach out to, only to find that it wasn't working out for us. And what happened is about 4 or 5 days before they were getting ready to close on their home, their file had gone to final underwriting and their loan was not approved. And I said, oh my God. I can only imagine what you guys went through and how uncomfortable that makes you. And I said, Steve, you know, why was it not approved at final underwriting? And Steve said, well, you know, we were told we were approved for a down payment assistance program, but we weren't. Or we were up front, or at least that's what we thought, but only to find out the final underwriter said our credit score wasn't high enough to qualify for the down payment assistance program that we needed to buy a home, because we were using it because we didn't have the money for the buyer closing cost and the down payment. We only had money for one or the other. I said, now that makes a lot of sense. That's what that program is for, is to help people buy a home that needs some down payment assistance or some closing cost assistance. And I said, well, what was their logic? Why did they deny your loan? And they said the credit score was off by like 20 points. I said, oh, okay. I said, so right out of the gate, I said, let me ask you, you said that you read my reviews and everything. Have you found a loan officer to work with? And they said, no, because it looked like that from what the families were saying in your reviews that you would know one that you could refer to us. I said, great. Yes, I work with a couple of great loan officers. Would you like me to put you in touch with one? And they said, yes. I said, okay, well, we can call him right now and go ahead and start the process. Would that be good for you? And Melanie said, oh my God, that would be awesome. I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. Well, after we did that, we got him set up with having a meeting with the loan officer. And this loan officer that helped this family was actually Bill Marion. who you see in some of the other videos that we do about VA loans and conventional loans and stuff like that. Anyway, we were after Bill had met with them. Bill and I started chatting, and I said, "What's the scoop?" You know, they fell out of escrow. They were told they weren't approved for down payment assistance. And he said, "You know what? It's not that big of a deal. We can do something called a rapid rescore. We can bounce that 620 credit score up to the 640 requirement for the down payment assistance program that they need for their specific circumstances. And then once we get that approval letter, we can go ahead and march forward." I said, "Awesome. Did you share that wonderful news with Steve and Melanie?" He said, "I was getting ready to call them right after I called you." I said, "Great. Please go ahead and call them." So Bill gave Steve and Melanie a call, and then Melanie calls me back, and she's crying. And I said, "What's going on, Melanie?" Because here I am thinking that Bill's telling them great news about their loan pre-approval, and I got her crying. I said, "Melanie, what's wrong?" She said, "Oh my God, Andrew, I'm so excited." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, that's a good reason to be crying, but why are we in tears? These are tears of joy, or what's going on?" And Melanie said, "Absolutely, we got approved and we're ready to start house hunting. And Steve and I want to meet with you at your office so we can come up with a game plan." I said, "Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and reconvene." So long story short of it is we got back in the office, we found the right home, and we were actually able to help them close on their new home going in before the holiday season of last year. And they were super stoked to be in their new home before Thanksgiving and Christmas so they could celebrate it with their loved ones and show off their new home. And we keep in very frequent contact, and it's just a wonderful relationship, and I couldn't be more happier for Steve and Melanie. So then that brings up the mind and brings the question essentially, how do you find a good real estate agent? Well, in today's age, we have these wonderful things like Google, and you can Google an agent. So you say, okay, well, that's one thing if you know an agent's name. What if you don't know an agent's name? Well, you can go on places like Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia, and you can see agent profiles. So you can say who's a good buyer agent or who's familiar with a certain finance type or a certain type of area of town, and you're going to find a lot of results for different agents in your local area that are matching what you're searching for. So if you go on Zillow in specific, and that's the one that I'm going to put on the screen right now, and you scroll down, you're going to notice star ratings. You want to look and ensure that agent has a 5-star rating preferably, but don't hate on an agent if they have like a 4-star or above. That just means that somebody wasn't completely satisfied, and let's face it, if you do enough work, you're not going to make everybody happy, unfortunately, but at times, hopefully we can be closer to that ultimate 5-star goal that all of us agents have. The next thing you want to look at right next to it is how many reviews does that agent have. Now, if you notice they helped out like 12 families over the last 12 months and 5 of them gave them a review, I'd say that's pretty darn good. Because even though some people say they're going to leave reviews, not everybody does, and it could take a long time to get those reviews processed. Now, if they helped 12 families over the previous 12 months and they had no reviews, then it might beg the question, what was going on with those circumstances? Now, underneath that, you'll notice how many past sales they've had in the last 12 months. And I was just mentioning 12. Well, 12 is the ideal number or more, and here's why. The National Association of Realtors reports that the average real estate agent assists 3.7 families per year buy or sell a home. Well, that's not so great. And the reason being is that if you don't have an agent that's closing or helping a family either successfully sell their home or help them successfully buy a home every single month of the year, so at least 12, then that agent's not completely on top of their game, and they're not in the process all the time. And real estate and local laws and federal laws and state laws change all the time. So having an agent that's knowledgeable in that process the whole way through is what's going to help you be successful, because they're going to know the latest financing trends or the latest housing trends, the market conditions, whether it's a seller's market like what we're seeing right now, or if it's headed for a slowdown like what might happen next year, and whether it's a buyer's market, and how to help you write the best type of offer, educate you onto a good showing techniques, offer techniques, and negotiation strategy. That's what a full-time agent can do for you. So having said that, there's a couple more caveats you want to take a closer look at. Now, I've Googled a lot of this information too, just to see what other agents or other folks are saying about how to find a great real estate agent. And what I find interesting is they ask for years of experience. Now, years of experience as a doctor, as a dentist, as a lot of other professions could hold a lot of water. So let me pose this question to you. If you have the average real estate agent that assists 3.7 families a year, and let's say they've been working in real estate for 10 years, that means that if we take that number to its logical extent, that's 37, right? 10 years times 3.7 a year is 37 families they've assisted over their 10 years of experience in real estate, right? Now let's say that you have an agent that's been in the business for 4 years and they've helped, let's say, 100 families in 4 years' time, or essentially 25 families on average a year. Which agent in your mind has more experience? Well, why? Is it not because that agent has actually been in the process more often and has helped more families? No, you're right. That is the reason why they'd have more experience. Because as an agent's experience isn't based on years, it's based on the amount of families they help, because every situation is different. Every negotiation is different. Whenever an agent sells a home, listing the property, every circumstance is different. Every property is unique. Every buyer that they work with is unique. It's a different finance type. It's a different loan type. It's a different condition. It's a different program. So having those agents that have all that experience to bring to bear for you is awesome. So the other thing that you want to look at is, has that agent taken any steps towards professional designations or professional certifications? Since this video is about how to find a great real estate agent to work with, and it's in our home buying guide, you'll want to be looking for an accredited buyer's representative designation. Now, that designation is awarded through the National Association of Realtors, and you may see it annotated commonly as an ABR. You want to keep an eye out for that, because that means that agent has put in the time, the hours, and has a requisite experience for the National Association to award them with that designation after completing their schoolwork for that designation. So they're going to have a host of materials that a lot of other agents aren't going to have, specifically geared towards you, the home buyer. Now, if you're a home seller watching this video, there's another designation you might want to be looking for as a potential seller. That's called the Seller's Representative Specialist designation, which again, an agent has to meet the requisite experience and the requisite accomplish all the work and the schoolwork that's involved with that designation before they're awarded that designation. And then the big boy of all of them is a Certified Residential Specialist, or a CRS. Now, if you see an ABR for a buyer, an SRS for a seller, or a CRS for anything to do with residential real estate, you can take and lay your head down on your pillow at night and know you're in awesome hands, and you're working with an agent that's going to be able to assist you and be able to understand and be able to relate to you and be able to help you successfully find your new home if you're buying, or sell your home if you're looking to sell. So if you have some questions about this, or you would like to share some of the experiences you've had with agents in the past, please let me know in the comments section below. I absolutely love hearing from you. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so now. If you've found this video helpful and you've learned something new, please give me the thumbs up, and by all means, share it around. You never know who this video is going to help. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week with how to find a great loan officer. Enjoy a wonderful day.